America is losing power. Russia and China are prospering. Babylon is falling. I want to give all the honor, glory, and praises to YAHAWAH, by Hashem, YAHAWASHI, by Hashem, RAWACHAA, QADASH. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone, taught with truth through the Spirit. Singing honors to the elect. Peace and blessings be to all the sincere men, women, and children, do consist of the 1/3, and to the confusion of faces in the four corners of the earth. Shalom, shalom. Jumping right into it. Right into it. Lots been transpiring. Saudi Arabia, Iran reconciling. Xi Jinping, the president, as you would say, or the leader of China, went to Russia with Putin, even amidst this war with Ukraine and Russia, and how it's coming about. America's just losing its grip. What happened with the Nord Stream pipeline with Germany and Russia, Biden and his cronies were the reasons why there was an explosion. And this just goes to show you, man, that this is biblical prophecy as well, because America is Babylon the Great, and it's falling. It's falling. Now listen to this. The U.S. shouldn't be surprised Latin America is turning to Russian news sources. I used to watch a lot of Peter Lavelle, Crosstalk, and Lee Camp Redacted Tonight. Those are two of my favorite shows on the RT. You know, and you had what's his name, Nick Sanchez. I liked him as well. But they took it down because it gives you an alternative perspective as to what's really going on, an alternative, right? The whole Russiagate situation, RT debunked that, and so forth and so forth. So let's continue on. As CNN laments, Russian propaganda has long exploited simmering resentments against the West's imperialistic past and recent foreign policy interventions. They call it propaganda, but they're just exposing you for what you're doing. That goes back to Isaiah 58, if I'm not mistaken, when it says that Babylon skirt has been lifted up, meaning that you're being exposed. You're being exposed. Rightfully so, transparently. I'm just going to get straight to the points. And the green underlining, it says, now promoting the view that Ukraine is a puppet of the West. The narrative is particularly powerful in Latin America, where Kremlin-controlled media outlets such as RT have big audiences, right? Because they banned all of RT here in America, right? So think about this, though. Have you ever asked yourself, what does America have to do with aiding Ukraine to fight Russia? Because Ukraine is a puppet for the West. It's called a proxy war. In other words, I'm indirectly fighting you by aiding the person that you're fighting. That makes me an ally to them, whether I want to like it, accept it, believe it or not. Continuing on, the Kremlin Spanish language services, most notably RT and Espanol, are a juggernaut, particularly in Latin America. That's why, I gotta remember if it was El Salvador or Bolivia, when the United States said, do not allow Russia to have a military base there. We'll put sanctions on you. And they still welcome Putin with open arms. Even China's investing over there in South America, Latin America, so to say, which is the Northern Kingdom. And also keep this in mind too. I just uploaded a post talking about the gold. What did I call it? The 21st century gold, which is I think it's lithium, over there in one of those South American countries, man. So I mean, Russia and China are really, really sticking to America, man, and all the other countries as well. Finland continues to buy Russian gas media. The EU country has vowed to end energy imports from Russia. What? If you read down at the bottom, it says Finnish state-run energy provider GABAR intends to continue buying gas from Russia. This was published March 21st, 2023. So they're going to continue. Remember, they're an EU country. You see what happened with Germany in the Nord Stream pipeline? Biden blew that up. All right. Russia boosting trade with Egypt. Okay, if you read down at the bottom, it says trade turnover jumped to over $6 billion in 2022, marking a 30% increase on the previous year. So while you people are watching the news and you're talking about war this, war that, you're fighting over stimulus checks. They're reducing your tax returns because of the money that they gave you for the stimulus checks and all of that. Man, Russia is over here making ends meet, man, making friends, making new relationships on the international commerce front. 30%, and that's a third of an increase in the trade turnover. Come on, man. America's falling. Indonesia to ditch Visa and MasterCard. The Bank of Indonesia to phase out Visa and MasterCard, introducing its own domestic payment system. That says a lot. Listen to this. Last week, Indonesian President Joko Widodo, forgive me if I pronounced it wrong, urged regional authorities to wean themselves away from foreign payment systems. He urged that Indonesia needed to shield itself from geopolitical disruptions, citing the sanctions targeting Russia's financial sector from the US, EU, and their allies over the conflict in Ukraine. Be very careful. We must remember the sanctions imposed by the U.S. on Russia. Visa and MasterCard could be a problem. That's heavy. Man, everybody's leaving the dollar, man. That's the only power you truly have. The petrodollar in your military. Offshore settlements and dependence on foreign payment networks such as U.S. Visa or MasterCard will no longer be necessary. YAHAWASHI. Pardon the noise in the background. I'm at the plantation. Russia to double trade turnover with African countries through 2030, says the ministry. The document outlines Russia's and African countries' joint events on key cooperation areas such as industry, finance, and banking, education, transport, agriculture, and fishing, healthcare, information and communication technologies, and media. Africa has the world's most reserves of natural resources. It's in abundance. And guess who's stepping their foot over there? Russia and China. Now we know Israel, us, the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, according to biblical prophecy, we're in their captivity. We're still in it, and the Lord going to bring us out of captivity, and we're going to rule the world in righteousness. So what Russia and China doing, yeah, we're rooting for you, but you're not going to be the next superpowers, okay? Because your rise will be the demise of Babylon, which was built off the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors, which would be Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. The ministry's officials also said that Russia's trade turnover with African countries totaled around $18 billion in 2022, with wheat and mezzanine accounting for around 25% of Russian supplies to the African market. Dang, a quarter? Damn. As well as oil and petroleum products account for another 22%. Man, Russia like, man, them sanctions ain't doing shit over here. Pardon my Swahili. Man, your sanctions ain't doing nothing over here. You ain't got no power. Huh? Now, with that being said, I'm going to close out with these few precepts. Jeremiah 50 and 22 through 24. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. Sanctions are also forms of war. It's financial and political. Because who gets harmed the most? The commoners, us, the serfs, the peasants, so to say. 23. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? That's what's going to happen soon. It's going to be a complete devastation to America because they're losing their grip. And you know how it is. Misery loves company. They're going to try and bring everyone down with them. And the hammer is also symbolic to the gavel that they use inside the judicial system in the court. Because America wants to, police the world. And the world is like, man, we done with you. Verse 24, I have laid a snare, which is trap, for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. Remember what the Lord said, the deceived and the deceiver are his. And thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. And how have you striven against the Lord? by what you've done to his people. What you've done to the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. What's biblical prophecy? You're supposed to do it. You fulfilled it. But the Lord also is going to judge you as a nation. Hey, the Lord did kill all the firstborn in Egypt, right? But was every person, every woman or man that had a son, do you think all of them was evil to Israel? No. You even had an Israelite woman that gave birth to an Egyptian man's child who got stoned to death for cursing the Lord. But nonetheless, though, the Lord did that to all of Egypt. So it doesn't matter whether or not, oh, my foreparents did do it. Well, it's what your forefather Esau has done to his seed. So with that being said, pray was edified and fed, stay in the spirit, don't fear it, just endure it. Ask for forgiveness, pray without ceasing, stay humble, remain diligent, come out your Allah, Shalom.